Hey fam, welcome back to the Magic Bar podcast.
I cannot believe that we already are working on our third episode.
I know, right?
I'm so excited.
Me too.
Cheers.
Cheers, bitch.
Cheers, bitch.
Yes.
Cheers, queers.
Guys, I'm Vanessa. I am a quantum astrologer, Reiki practitioner, yoga teacher, and I'm also a real estate consultant. And I'm here with one of my fucking BFFs, Anibal. Yes.
Thank you.
Bless up.
Bless up. My name is Anibal. I am a theologo. Also, I consider myself a spiritual worker in progress, of course. I'm a sales representative, like in real life, and also in real life, I'm Batman.
Like in Matrix life, in the 3D world.
In the 3D world.
Yeah.
In the 3D world, I am a sales representative and inside sales actually, and I'm also a professional cook.
Yes, queen. Fucking love it.
I like that energy. Today we are drinking. I'm drinking a. What is the name of that? It's like ginger and also like this little yellow.
Golden milk?
No.
Turmeric?
Turmeric. Yeah.
Turmeric, yeah.
My tea is ginger with turmeric, and yours is
some green tea.
Japanese green tea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that today's episode is super, super, super special because we are going to talk about something that I know that you were dying to talk about, and it's the inner child.
Yes, the inner child.
I have to say that on my end, I took a good time to research because I've read about shadow work, and obviously we have mentioned inner child, but like I wanted to see like, okay, where does this come from?
Yeah.
So let's begin with that. Do you think like let's define what the inner child?
Defining the inner child. So when we're born into this world, we enter through Aries, through the ascendant sign.
Okay.
In the chart, the first house. So we start building ourselves from the first house to the second house, the third house, the fourth house, the fifth house, and all around. And when we complete that cycle, we become the fulfilled individual. Okay. So in astrology and psychoastrology, the first couple of houses are all about the development of the human being. So Aries is being born into this world as consciousness.
Okay.
Where this conscious being, the energy of Big Bang, the energy of becoming.
Okay.
Then Taurus energy is a little bit more into, so our subconscious mind, like the inner child, is formed from the time that I believe, from what I've read, from what I've learned, from the time that we're in the belly of our mother to the time that we're 7 or 8. That's when the subconscious mind is formed. The 95%. So the 95% is the printout of our life. So everything is ruled by the unconscious mind. Everything is ruled by your experiences, what you absorbed in the programming of your DNA and of your experiences as a child.
Okay.
So the inner child is still that being, that soul, that consciousness, that fresh consciousness that came into this reality. Because when we're in the womb, it's Pisces energy. And Pisces is totality. Pisces is the universe. We're literally in our mom's belly, a 5-star resort of like nurturing, of home, of food, everything that we could ever need. Then when we are born through the womb of our mother or C-section, however you're born, we're ripped into, and I use the word ripped because it is aggressive. Like when we're born, the child cries. We're born into this world of duality. And that's not it's not where we come from. So at the end of the day, we're all searching to go back to this state of totality, of Zen, of peace. So the inner child is, from what I've experienced, from what I've learned, your inner child is your true essence. It's the essence before these societal structures make a wall in your mind or make a script of who you have to be and who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So it's like our true essence. It's what truly brings us joy. The inner child is who we are.
Okay.
And that child is always there. Our vessel grows. Our vessel, our carnal engine keeps growing and elevating and expanding. but the true essence is that inner child. It's a huge aspect of who we are. So the more we get to understand the inner child, we get to understand that aspect of ourselves that never leaves us, the more we are able to live through that innocence, that essence, that pure, because when you look at children, you're like, holy fuck, like, and I used to never be around children, but like this past weekend I was around my niece, and I see the wonder and the curiosity, and there's no fear of what if, there's no fear of what is this, with her toys, with experiences, it was such a reminder of my inner child, of who I was as a kid. So this has been coming up a lot for me, like this inner child journey through like the death of my dad. And it's something that I talk about, like through my platforms and with clients and with my friends, because this grief has brought me back to a lot of things from my unconscious, with the passing of a pillar, a luminary, which is, our luminaries are the sun and the moon.
Okay.
The father and the mother. Okay. The father is the sun, the mother is the moon. So that solar dimension of like what I perceive to know as my father, as like that father figure, the father energy, the masculine energy, is very connected to my inner child. So like with my dad passing, like I've been connecting back to like how I saw my dad growing up, how I saw my parents growing up, how I perceive my relationships. Because at the end of the day, your first foundation, the most basic foundation, the basis of everything in your life, is a relationship that the inner child has to mother and father.
Totally.
Your relationship to your partners, relationship to business, relationship to money, relationship to your connection to yourself.
Yes.
So the more you understand those aspects of yourself from your childhood, what you received, what you didn't receive, because there's always light and darkness, like because like for a long time I was like very concentrated in like the negative aspects of my inner child, of like how I suffered, the things that didn't make me happy, the things that like that I suppressed, because it's nobody on the outside, it's like that I myself suppressed. So the more I connect with who Vanessa was as a child, the more I'm able to understand
who you are,
why I react to things a certain way, why I feel about my parents a certain way, why that reflects into other areas of my life. The inner child is the inner child has the key to who we are and our gifts.
First of all, goddamn.
Damn. I came in strong.
No, but I have to say that on my end, we all experience our inner child, but when you are aware of it, of that figure, of that side of yourself. So obviously me as a person that I enjoys to, read and research, first of all, I am not an expert on Jungian psychology.
Me neither. I mean, it's just what I've learned through like psychoastrology.
No, exactly.
Which is like what I learned.
Right now, what I was able to research in regards of the inner child, it seems like the figure of the inner child came with the Jungian psychology. Something very a big topic for Jung was I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his last name.
I think you are, yeah. I don't know.
Latino, agárralo.
Carl Jung.
One of the biggest things for him was the unconscious collective.
The unconscious collective, yeah.
And the archetypes.
Yeah.
The major thing that he was talking in regards of the archetypes is that all the archetypes are inborn unconscious drivers of our behaviors. And we as human beings, we share these archetypes with the collective. That's why it doesn't matter what culture you are at, you have the archetype of the child, the divine child, or just the child, or the kid or the boy, the little boy or the little girl, and then you see archetypes as the mother, the father, the warrior, the master, the priest, the priestess, the king, the
magician,
emperor,
the queen,
and
everything.
you can see those different images of archetypes in the tarot.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and also in astrology.
In astrology,
Each zodiac sign, each energy represents an archetype.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the child, the archetype of the child or the inner child is this, after what I read, of course, is this subconscious part of your persona, because we are divided in these little archetypes. We all have them all.
All of them, yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
One's on a bigger scale, a few in a smaller scale, but we all have them. And this little inner child is one of your part that is in your subconscious.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in your unconscious self, which is more the shadow, is in the subconscious. And the thing with the inner child is whether all the things that the inner child enjoys, or all the things that this kid was deprived.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the word? Like,
yeah.
Le privaron de poderes.
Deprived.
Yeah. All what this kid lacks, or all that this kid has, is what subconsciously.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Whoa.
What?
Trip.
All these little factors are what influence yourself, your persona.
For sure.
Something dumb. My entire childhood, I was told fat. I was told ugly. I was told a nerd. I was told that the topics that I like to talk about were boring.
Yeah.
And my entire self growing up, where I struggled the most in the different areas of my life, were loving myself, thinking that I am not enough, stuff like that. Then I think that we all deal with like that kind of situation in the self-esteem, but the self-esteem is super latched onto the inner child.
100%.
And everything that you lack, or that you got a trauma on your kid, that's when you are going to be dealing with while you keep growing up. And I don't know, reading about the archetypes and reading about the inner child made me think about different stuff. Like, now that I'm an adult and I have like the money to be able to pay this toy that I was like a kid, I don't know if you have experienced this, but like going to Target, for example, and seeing like this little doll or this little toy that I was like, oh fuck, I wanted to have this Lego set when I was a kid, and now I can fucking afford it. Why not? You know what I mean? And reading this made me feel like, oh, maybe that's my inner child, that it was like, I wanted this toy and I never had the opportunity to have it, and now I want it. Like, I never stopped wanting it.
Yeah.
I just grew up to the point that I will not get it, let's get over it.
Yeah.
But the want was there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's just with the toys. With how many other things too?
Of course. Well, I've been reading this book about, it's written by Liz Green and Howard Sasportas, and they're psycho-astrologers.
Okay.
They're like if you guys are like looking to get into psycho-astrology, any book by Liz Green or Howard Sasportas is gold. So they're psycho-astrologers, and the books are based off the seminars that they've given throughout their career. So the one that I'm reading now is the development of personality. And I've been reading, like, the first couple of chapters are how we're formed, like how our personality is formed. So there's so many aspects to the personality, like from the time that you're in your mom's womb. For example, if you're born with like Chiron in the 12th house, or you have placements in the 12th house. The 12th house is the mom's womb, because then we're born through the ascendant. So like sometimes when I see people that have planets in the ascendant, the first house, 12th house, I always ask, how was your mom's pregnancy? How was your birth? So sometimes people who have Pluto in the ascendant, Pluto in the 12th or the first house, they usually have very near-death experiences in birth.
Really?
Literally, like, even the way that you're born Like, if you're born through a natural birth, a C-section, all of that influences your psychological skeleton.
That's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. So what I've been reading, it was super crazy. Like, I was reading this chapter about the moon being squared to Pluto in the birth chart. And I'm like, damn, what a tough aspect. Moon square Pluto. Moon, the mother, emotions, the unconscious mind, the feminine energy, squaring, fighting up, like, intention with Pluto, which is death, rebirth. Pluto is all about the fucking darkest depths of the psyche. Pluto is all about that dark unconscious. Pluto brings a lot of pain, but a lot of gifts too.
And what is the main difference between this unconscious part of Pluto and the unconscious part of the moon?
The unconscious part of Pluto and the unconscious... Well, they represent different aspects.
Okay.
Different archetypes.
Okay.
For example, Pluto is Hades. It's the underworld. It's hell.
Okay.
It's the transformation from the depths of darkness up to the light.
Okay.
You have to go, the story of Persephone.
Yes.
That she went down as an innocent woman, as a child, into hell, into Hades, became Hades' wife, and came out as a woman, as a full-bloomed woman. So Pluto transforms us. So anyway, so I was reading about the moon squared Pluto aspect. Guess who fucking has that? This bitch. So going back to the inner child, so people who have this aspect of the moon squaring Pluto, as a child, when my mom was giving me milk,
Okay.
which is nutrition, the essence of life, like, it's like I get life through this being. Like, when we're born, we think that we're still part of mom, like we're one with mother.
Technically, we are.
But unconsciously we're like, we're united with this. There's no separation between me and my host.
Okay.
So when at the time that we're 18 months, that's when we start realizing mom has two natures. There's a good mom and a bad mom. So for example, and I'm gonna keep using the moon square Pluto aspect. When my mom, because I have that natally, I chose that aspect, right? That comes from also an ancestral thing.
Mm-hmm.
My mom could have given me enough milk for me to be satisfied. But if there was a sliver, a moment where she didn't give me enough, that aspect triggers, that aspect activates of I'm not getting enough. I'm not being nurtured the right way. My mom isn't nurturing me the right way. She's an evil mom. So we have this duality, this different nature of mom can be my savior, but mom can also be my destruction.
Okay.
So if we start looking at the nature of the child, that nature translates into everything in our life, especially partners. Because that's the basis of the relationship with mom and dad, is the basis of every relationship. So
with everyone.
With everyone, with business, with again, with everything. So let's say people who are born with dad not being there or mom not being there, or maybe you're born in your parents dying.
Let's go real. Daddy issues and mommy issues are fucking real.
Fuck yeah.
Like lack of a father figure or a mother figure can also can make you, the lack of that figure can make you try to look that in your partner.
For sure, absolutely. But here's the thing, this is the beauty of quantum energy, of quantum healing, of quantum astrology, where when you realize these aspects of your inner child, of yourself, of the blueprint, remember the 95%, that your unconscious is the printout of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You start being conscious of these patterns. For example, if you start attracting people into your life that hurt you.
Yeah.
For example, recently I told you about how I went down to Miami and I saw one of this guy
all
that
this situation.
And it triggered these things in me because he wasn't doing what I expected from.
He was not nurturing you enough.
He wasn't nurturing me enough. So, but now I'm very conscious of it, so I don't take it personal. I'm able to be the observer of it.
Oh my God! Now that you are mentioning this about the conscious part, I was reading something in regards to the inner child, that just because we all have inner child, the way that a child reacts is not the same way that an adult reacts. Is a more pure, innocent, but at the same time in a very unmastered way. It's a kid. He or she or they have not been trained enough in order to become an adult. And I was reading the concept of mastering, or no, it's not the parenting the inner child.
Yeah.
What is that?
Parenting the inner child. So, one of my mentors told me, Shantae, I was talking about her.
Dios mío, she.
Yeah, I know.
Shantae, let me. She is not saying anything. If you are seeing this, you are invited. Please, lady, I need to meet you. I am going to talk to you. Please.
Well, I mean, Shantae has been a huge aspect of like my life in this chapter with like grieving and like connecting again with my inner child and all these aspects of myself. But before her, I had another teacher. Like I'm so thankful and grateful to have these angels in my life who have, I'm sure we have contracts from past lives, but they've really brought me to a place where because I've always been a very introspective child.
Yes.
And I didn't understand why nobody else was like that. So like, yes. I'm so grateful to have these people in my life and now this community where, dude, like who I am is accepted. But it started by me accepting myself and these aspects of myself.
Yes.
So going back to how my mentor had put it, she's like, your psyche, your unconscious. Let's say that, picture a dinner table. There's a dinner table, and this dinner table there's the mother, the father, the healed child, the wounded child, the healed teenager, the wounded teenager, the healed adult, the wounded adult. All of these different aspects of ourself, they're all at this dinner table. Nothing on the outside exists. Everything is inner. So parenting the inner child is paying attention to that aspect of the inner child. For example, let's say that I go on a date with some guy and I'm not receiving like what I want or whatever. Or let's say that he's showing me what I think is normal for me as a kid, which is to be not understood, to be not listened to. So that I'm gonna find that attractive, like before.
Because it's what you were taught or you were used to.
Yes. Okay. Because I was used to, and again, these are all like examples. Like I was used to performing for a parent to get their attention.
Okay.
So I'm conscious of that because I'm connecting with my inner child. I'm connecting with these aspects by having a mirror. Because people are like, oh my God, I'm healing myself, dude. Healers need other healers. Like we need each other to like be mirrors of each other. Yeah. Now another aspect of that is finding someone who is truly looking at you from a perspective of being a clear mirror and not from the ego, because we find that too in therapy. Like it's therapists are humans too, So parenting the inner child is understanding that your triggers and the things that you attract into your life are here to serve you. They're there for you. They're not there to attack you or hurt you. These situations are serving us for a purpose, for us to learn what our soul came to learn in this lifetime, for us to evolve it. Mm-hmm. So, let's say that I'm dating someone and they keep triggering me. Oh my God, this person doesn't pay attention to me, whatever. I'm looking at it from the outside. But when you look at it deeper, how does this person reflect your upbringing? What parent is this person reflecting? All of the relationships that I've had, like I've had 4 serious relationships. All of these people now, with the knowledge that I have now and understanding and connection with my inner child, I realized that these people were reflecting a wound from my inner child.
Oh shit, you're rating me right now.
So going back to the dinner table, all of these aspects of yourself will always be there, no matter how much healing you do.
Yes.
No matter how much you try, because people get an obsession with, okay, well now I know this, now I know this, I have to heal. Well, I'm gonna go to every fucking workshop, every fucking healing, every ayahuasca ceremony, every gambo ceremony.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah. So those aspects of yourself, they never leave. But you have to take time by building that system within yourself, that belief value system towards energy, that what we value, we build that within ourselves, and we give ourselves that space to listen to the inner child. For example, something that's been super, super big for me right now is spending time at my ancestral altar with a picture of my father, because the inner child is still grieving the father. So what am I doing? Small conscious shifts where I sit in the mornings and I write letters to my dad, no matter what I'm feeling that day. Today I feel like saying fuck you for dying. Today I say thank you for giving me life. There's no good or bad. It's just, it is what it is.
It's part of the grieving process.
So in that moment,
and healing process.
Exactly. So in that moment, I'm giving attention to my inner child that's grieving. I'm giving her attention, because when we don't give her attention, when I'm not in the role of the inner mother nurturing my inner child, for example, when I realize that when I'm neglecting my inner child, when I have this urge of not always, but sometimes when I'm overindulging towards
overindulging.
When I'm going out,
yes. Sorry.
No, you're good. When I'm going out with my friends, that I'm like, okay, I've been going out once a week, and that's usually not my normal right now. Like, I'm very hermit, like I'm very to myself, like I'm always reading, I'm like focused on like what I'm doing. But recently, like when I'm craving these outings and this intensity, is because I'm not giving my inner child, like the inner mother is like checking out. I'm gonna check out, I'm gonna ignore my inner child, and I'm gonna go party. But that's my inner self. That's Vanessa. So like my mom on the outside, my mom who's still on this earth, when I call my mom and I ask her for advice, my mom is never gonna give me the advice that I want, because what I'm searching for is something beyond what she can give me. What I'm searching for is the inner nurturing of myself, of Vanessa to Vanessa. So those aspects of yourself will never leave. They'll always be at this dinner table. What we have to do, we don't have to do anything, but the suggestion is nurturing all of the aspects of yourself and giving attention by giving yourself space. So meditation is so important.
Yes.
Hey, how am I feeling today?
There's people that do not know how they feel. I did not learn how I felt until I started practicing meditation.
Yeah.
And there's no way for you to know what is the wound that your inner child has if you do not allow yourself to find that inner child, understand and embrace that inner child, and let that wound be healed. Now, you brought onto the conversation the topic of sorry, I forgot the word in English. Indulgencia, overindulge.
Indulgence, like overindulgence.
Overindulge the inner child. So, and it's something that I was struggling with when
my pants, like the bottom of my pants.
Oh, bless, same. Well, I mean,
I'm at my house.
That's why the pillow is here. So one of the things that I was reading in regards of the inner child, and that is when in fact that's where I started like getting conflicted about. And you know me, Libra, I overthink and I have to be devil's advocate at the same time.
But look how interesting, because Libra represents the other. Libra represents the mirror. Mm-hmm. It's, I am Aries, you are Libra. I am the self, you are the other. Mm-hmm. I can't understand you if I don't understand myself. If I don't understand myself.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I was at when I was reading in regards of sometimes the inner child, due the parenting or the traumas or the pain, the inner child was taught to behave in this way. And that created a fracture in the kid, because your true persona, and I always bring the example of the LGBT community, but it's like a really a really bright example. Yeah. You were brought onto this place and you naturally feel this way, you naturally want to act this way, and you were taught by your parents or your family or your friends, you do not wear this color, you do not act in this way, you cannot be flamboyant, you cannot do this or you cannot do that. And
You
in
cannot be
order to be accepted, to belong, your true persona was started to be fractured. And I bring the inner child in regard this because inner child does not understand sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
The inner child just fell in love with this little girl or this little guy, and it's like I just like them, and I'm being taught that I'm a bad person just because I do not understand my feelings. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's in regards sexuality, and that's in regards of your inner child is wounding that area. You need to allow yourself, your inner child, to come out and be like, I like this boy. I like this girl.
Yeah.
This is how I feel. But at the same time, when I talk about overindulgence, it's like we all have kids. We all have those that have kids or those that have siblings or yourself. When I was a kid, I wanted to eat McDonald's every day. My mom, because she knew better, because she understood better, because she obviously was the one that was paying it, Venezuelan factor, she was like, you cannot eat McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
And me as a kid, but I wanted. So I want to bring the example of the archetype of the kid of being innocent, but at the same time not necessarily understanding better, and only because I have the raw feeling of I want to eat McDonald's every single day, that does not necessarily mean that that's the right thing to do.
Right.
So in the moment to talk about healing, how does the Libra game goes on inner child healing, but at the same time you parenting your inner child. A tough topic, raped. And I bring the topic, and we had this conversation. How do you heal a kid that was raped? It's not their fault. There's no way that you can put the blame on a kid of something that is that painful happens.
Sure, you can't.
The only way to bring healing onto that matter is therapy. Is acknowledging it that happened. Is acknowledging that it was not their fault. But then the parenting part, how it goes in. There's a moment that you will have to have relationships, friendships, and it's hard to not put the blame of what happened to you in everyone else around you. So it's like a very big examples, but does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
The overindulging, the parenting,
no, it makes total sense, but the way that what comes to me, the way that I see it, it's we all have our traumas. For me as a child, my parents gave me everything materially. My dad was a successful entrepreneur in Venezuela. He lost all of it, came back, whatever. So I went through the motions of having nothing to having everything to nothing to everything. Some of my family members lived in barrios, but then I had family members that lived in la alta verga. O sea, my whole life I've always had this dual, I see all perspectives because I've been through it's very Gemini. My ascendant's Gemini. I have a lot of Gemini energy, so it's Gemini Hermes was the only god that could go from the underworld to the mortals up to Mount Olympus. So that's very ingrained in me, seeing those different perspectives. Now, we all have different traumas. Some people's parents, they don't even know their parents. Their parents died and they don't know them. Some people have sexual abuse. Some people have emotional abuse, physical abuse. There's so many different things, So as we grow and we're able to be conscious, elevating the mind, Aquarius energy, the elevated consciousness, through these healing tools, first we understand what happened to us. We understand it logically, and then we feel it in our hearts. But the thing is, how do we get out? We're in a dual world, but how do we get out of that duality? Picture a triangle. The victim, the savior, the perpetrator. if you notice human behavior, we're always in that role. The savior, the perpetrator, the victim. This girl did this to me. I'm a victim. She's the perpetrator. Or I need to be the best healer ever because I'm the savior. So we start switching roles, right?
Yeah.
When we observe that, we're able to get out of these roles.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to reconstruct our cellular memory, our subconscious. The computer is modeled after the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
How do we delete our software, delete our hardware, to install a new hardware, a new app, a new software with new apps?
Mm-hmm.
We have to delete the old ones.
Yes.
To make space for the new ones.
Mm-hmm.
So we have options because we have free will.
Yes.
We can maintain being the victims of our story, or we can transcend it and allow these stories to be our keys to healing ourselves and healing other people, which is what Chiron is in astrology. Chiron is the asteroid, and wherever Chiron is in your chart, that's the wounded healer. It's what you came to heal.
Yeah.
I see people with sexual abuse. I see people with verbal abuse. I get all sorts of people in the charts, but it's like some people don't want to look at those aspects of themselves because, again, in the shadow is where our light is.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if I answered your question because I kind of went on a tangent.
No, actually, I think that you are giving me the answer. I mean, I think that there was not necessarily a question. It's just like exploring how harsh is. It's hard to be a human. It's hard to have this human experience.
Yeah,
because
it's not easy, but we chose to be here. We chose to reincarnate. We chose these aspects. We chose when our souls chose when to enter this dimension. Through the chart, you can see it. Like, astrology is such a fucking powerful tool if you know how to use it. Like, last night I was watching this this crypto, random, but like this crypto video, and what the guy said really resonated. It's like, how can you become a master of something if you're not educated in it? So we've forgotten that we need to live, like, we don't need to, I don't like saying like me too, but like,
we must.
It's suggested to live 2/3 in,
Yes.
and 1/3 out.
Yes.
In the external world, to understand and explore your internal world.
Yes.
Because how can I know you if I don't know myself?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, today it's quite related. Today I was watching a TikTok, and there was this motivational speaker that she was saying there's people in this life that they are always fighting. They are always in a struggle. They are fighting. They are arguing. And if there's no a fight happening in their life, they pick a fight. And I decided to put myself out of that kind of situation with people that are living their life that way. And on my side, on my experience, I find myself all the time with people that are in that way, and actually was like studying this, and I'm not going to go through the bullshit of I'm the healer of everyone. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be anyone's healer. I might bring healing to people, but right now I decided like I need to focus on myself.
That's
you
amazing.
know?
Yeah, that's the best. Like,
But
yeah.
my life, I grew up to be this person that, I feel so nice being with you. You make me feel better. I was sad and you gave me happiness. I am feeling this way. I need you to make me happy today.
Yeah, I don't have to look at my own shit, so I look at
I
you.
don't exactly.
I don't have to look at my own shit, so I look at you for comfort.
So exactly, and
Yeah.
because I didn't say the reality as it was, because I was taught to be like, you cannot make people feel bad. You are not supposed to. You have to be nice.
Yeah.
You have to be nice, and I'm not saying that you have to be a bitch about everything, but I kept noticing that my friends, my exes, everyone, I was trying to heal them and repair them.
Of course.
And that brought despair and sadness in my life.
Yeah.
And it was when and it was, it's crazy, this is me just in a week learning about inner child. It was because I was taught to, you have to be nice, because if you are not nice, people leave you.
Yeah.
And I felt so abandoned.
But let's take it a deeper level. So you felt a bit, okay, so I don't think that you were necessarily told this.
I was taught to be nice, but I felt abandoned the most part of my childhood.
But it's like you had to be this person for your parents.
Yes.
For you not to feel like you felt like you had to be of use. You have to be felt like I have a purpose in your life, like because you have a Gemini moon.
Yeah.
So in psychoastrology, we learn a lot about like the child, like the moon is the perspective of the child. So with Gemini moons, it's like I need to bring information and value to my parent. It's like that's how I make them happy. Like if I don't bring them value, I don't make them happy, and they're gonna leave me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be of service. I have to be of use. I have to be, especially with like intellectual shit. Like I'm sure you were one of those kids like with Gemini moons. It's like Gemini moon children. It's like they see how, for example, if your parents say, "Oh my God," say like read this word, read this word, and you read it as a kid, you see the correlation of how that brings your parent happiness.
Yeah.
So
and
it's like,
I feel good about it.
So I feel good. So Geminis are all about information, like. So that's why I'm like take it a step deeper. It's like this is the connection of how you were able to connect, like with your parents, with your mom, of being of value through that way. Does that make sense? Like, am I making sense?
It does, and you don't have to be fucking reading me in front of everyone right now.
Sorry. This is what I do for a living, bro.
No, but that like that's how it felt, and this was just a week learning about inner child.
Interesting.
Like, can you imagine, like the change that a person has dedicating not necessarily to heal. I think that awareness brings healing, whether you want it or not.
For sure.
Whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
You have to be healed as soon, because when you are aware, you are like, oh fuck, I was acting this way.
Yeah,
that's so fucking ridiculous.
Of course.
Why am I supposed to ensure my partner happiness in regards of my unhappiness?
Yeah.
In regards of my unhappiness, bringing unhappiness to myself.
Dude, 100%.
Why does the happiness of my parents rely on me?
Yeah. Our parents were the vessels that the universe used to give us life. It's part of our DNA. Like, And
when we become parents too, if we become
parents,
why? I want the best for my kid, and obviously I will be happy if my kid is happy and is healthy. But my kid is not here to bring me happiness.
For sure, and that child, for example, my mom was the best mom possible, but because I have that moon square Pluto aspect, and anytime my mom does something that isn't catering to what my emotional needs are, I'm gonna point at her and see her as the bad mom. Oh, I knew it. I knew you were a fucked up mom, even though she takes care of me and gives me everything that I need. I was talking to my mom about that, and I was like, Mom, like, half of my trauma, like, I understand it because I chose these patterns in this life for me to transcend them. So with that moon square Pluto, and I also have like moon with Chiron, so like there's a lot of healing that I have to do with the feminine energy with my mom.
Yeah.
But the more I understand my patterns, the more it's like I don't take it personal. When my mom triggers me, it's like I know that this is an aspect of my subconscious mind. So one way of doing that is like by being conscious of it, by understanding, by educating yourself, and by seeking help. Like seeking help, there's nothing wrong. It's like, dude, go to your astrologer, go to therapy. Like, I am fucking astounded when people are like, I've never been to a therapist. And I'm like, dude, you'll spend $200 in a dinner, but you can't fucking go to a therapist?
It's $50 per appointment.
Yeah,
and
it could be a little more expensive, but dude, my biggest...
Okay, mine was $50 and she was amazing.
So, no, but awesome. Like, it doesn't take away of who or more is good, but it's like having a mirror, someone who you allow yourself to speak in front of another person and understand yourself. Because you can write as much as you want, whatever, but I am a firm believer that we need mirrors. Like, that's why We are having human experiences in different bodies, and we're reflections of each other.
Yes.
So we can understand ourselves through the relation with the other.
Yes.
A way of nurturing the inner child is becoming conscious, becoming aware of the inner child and of all these aspects of you, and becoming the observer of them. You don't have to get involved and tangled in the drama, in the movie. Becoming the outside observer of your own patterns. Because I hear all the time, my friends are like, and I do it myself too, like, it's like, oh my god, I attracted this fuckboy, I attracted this guy, I attracted this. You're attracting that because there's still something in you that needs to be healed. And that's why this is coming up. So a way of doing that, another way of connecting with your inner child is doing things that you loved as a child. For example, look at the paintings here. Look at all these paintings.
Yeah.
I loved to paint as a kid. I haven't painted, like, I've always had like sketchbooks and stuff, but I'm like, I'm not a painter. Like, I'm not this, I'm not that. Always limiting myself. I'm not this because I'm not good at it. Now all I do is fucking paint. I loved painting as a kid. I loved dancing as a kid. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you.
What?
I went to a fucking hip hop class.
Oh my god.
Dude. So my parents, like my mom always wanted me to like do ballet and stuff, and like I would cry because I started like, not like the girls were like mean in the ballet, and like I remember like being traumatized. It wasn't my thing. It was like too like flowery and stuff, and I was always like a little tomboy like growing up, like because I had a brother and I grew up around boys, and like I wanted to like, you know, like fucking impress my dad and like whatever. So it was so fucking crazy to go back to a hip hop class. It was choreography, everything I did as a kid. Dude, I sucked. Like, I was like a little stiff, like, and I'm like, damn, I need some tequila shots or some shit, you know?
Yeah!
Like, I just smoke a little something, I don't know. But I had this wave of energy come over me, and I remember I told my friend Chelsea, and I'm like, Chelsea, I think that I just healed an aspect of my inner child by being in this class, by letting myself be free, by doing something new, but it's not new, it's something that I enjoyed as a kid. So engaging in these, indulging myself, Taurus energy, in things that I love. Yeah. And hey, maybe I'm planning to go back to the hip hop class, but maybe it's not hip hop, maybe it's fucking tap dancing, I don't fucking know. But it's being curious about yourself. It's not being curious about the other person around you. You have to be curious about yourself, about your inner nature, about your inner child. Yeah. Because the inner child is there waiting for you. When I do these meditations of like hugging my inner child, hugging myself, going back to childhood and telling that little girl, hey, I'm sorry that no one told you that your spiritual self, like this witchiness, is okay. This is an aspect of you. You don't have to repress this. Yes. What you're seeing, you're not crazy. I go back and tell my inner child that all the fucking time. When I'm doing the work, when I'm doing this, because I'm like, is this real life? Like, maybe I should go work for a fucking corporate company and fucking just make money and just like, no, like that's me putting an old shoe back on.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's like once you open yourself to like your inner world, you can't go back.
You cannot.
And people are scared of that change.
You cannot.
Because I was scared of that change.
Yes.
I lost relationships, friendships, family, like, but it's like, yeah, like I lost them, but I gained myself.
I think I particularly like lost. I do not even see them as lost. I see them more like, or they were a temporal, they were a lesson. A lesson?
Yeah.
Or they just were not actually there. If someone cares about you, by you making them feel happy, or just agreeing with everything, or just doing everything that they want, but they don't want you to be your true self, and obviously in a healed way, they are not meant to be there for you.
Zero.
You are doing way better without them. And
Zero.
Spirituality sometimes can be a little bit toxic in the sense of, so especially when you see these big wave of, oh, I'm an empath, and it's practically narcissism hidden behind layers of spirituality. And I'm an empath. I just feel that you are like gaslighting me, and it's a very hidden way to gaslight you in order for you to make something that they want. I bring this up because that's also a kid, an inner child that has not been acknowledged. You as a 20x, as a 30x, as a 40x years old person, manipulating people into doing stuff that you want, what did you lack that made that you are still stuck in that pattern of a wound kid?
Fuck yeah. But look how aware you are of it. Because you work on yourself. Like, you're like, I see my own patterns, so I'm able to see the patterns of other people. And know when I'm falling into a pattern. For example, my experience this past weekend. When I went to dinner with my friend, get that, and I was triggered, but I was observing, and I was like, this is bringing up something that I need to hit. Bro, that Libra full moon, damn, with partnerships.
It was heavy.
It was fucking heavy, but it showed, like, hey, for me, for example, it showed me what I have to communicate with people. Because, like, you know me, dude, like, I'm all about collaborating with my friends, like, all of that. And the people that I collaborate with, it's like a mutual, aligned partnership. Energetically. And sometimes people come along where you're not energetically aligned. So my lesson lately has been speaking my truth when I feel that I'm not aligned with a person, even though, like, hey, like, if that person gets hurt by my truth, that's their problem. But as a child, I was always like being overly nice and a people pleaser, so I could feel that I was accepted. That I felt that I was accepted.
Yes.
Because my true nature was sometimes too much. It was too much. You're too sensitive. You're too honest. You're too communicative. You're too this. Oh my fucking God! Like, dude, if I'm too much for someone, then that person is not meant to be in my life. Period. That's something that I've learned in my adulthood. That's my healed adult.
And I think that's a great part. The great part of being an adult. I look backwards, especially on to my child self, and I felt like, oh my God, I do not fit in. I am trying to be something in order to people to like me. But once that I was able to come out of the different people around me controlling how am I supposed to dress, or how am I supposed to talk, or what I'm supposed to read, once that I finally allow myself to be my real self, and I'm not saying this in the mentality of fuck them bitches, fuck everyone, but right now I'm like, yeah, fuck them bitches, like I am being myself.
This journey is about you.
Not with intention to hurt anyone, but if I don't fit in your little box, I am not supposed to be there. By all means.
For sure.
And even though I look backwards and I'm like, oh my God, I should have enjoyed more things of my teenage years, of my childhood. At the same time, I look now my independence and I'm like, I'm not alone. I have a bunch of friends. And I have a bunch of friends that I'm not trying to fit in their boxes. We get aligned. Oh, you like that? I like this. Do you want to get along with me?
People that accept you with your unique experience.
And you accept them by what they are. And you are aware that they are going to be ups and downs.
100%.
And I've always had the mentality of people are going to screw it at one point or the other. Are they worth of forgiving? Are they worth, or do they say, dude, I fucked up. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do better. And they actually do it. It's worth it to keep them.
For sure.
You know? And when you are a kid and you are alone, you are willing to pass, like to look above everything, especially the red flags, just to not feel alone. And that's a tough part.
You abandon yourself. You
abandon yourself. Abandonment issues are heavy, especially when you're a kid. Vanessa, what is the mantra of this week?
The mantra, el mantra.
El mantra.
For Taurus, Taurus season starts today.
Yes.
What's up? I'm creating financial independence in a joyful way. I'm creating financial independence in a joyful way. Of course. I mean, going back to the relationships, like
Yes.
even our relationship with money is based off the relationship we have with mom and dad.
Damn. Our relationship, even with our work. Am I just making money, or
Our
am
values.
I enjoying making
Our
money?
values, dude. Like Taurus. So Taurus rules the second house, and the second house is a house of, in traditional astrology, how you make money.
That's so
And
crazy.
it's what we value.
What is the second house you say?
The second house is Taurus, the second sign, yeah. It's what we value. So what are we valuing right now? Like, what do we value our status,
Yes.
or do we value our happiness more?
Mm-hmm.
Do we even have our own values, or are we consistently looking at the values of other people to reflect ourselves, like our own values? No, it's like we have to build a belief system, a value system within ourselves of our true essence of who we truly are in this lifetime. And you can't do that without looking at yourself and finding time and space. Like, for example, when you're sometimes I have like complete silence here, turn the music off, and I'm just hearing silence with Anubis. And I'm like, me entra la vaina, me entra el itch. My itch of intensity. And I'm like,
What am I doing? What am I?
what can I do right now? I need to go on a walk. I need to go do this. No, like now I've learned through these small conscious shifts of, why do I feel like I need to do something?
Why do
I
we
feel
have
like I'm
to
not doing enough?
achieve?
Why do I feel like I'm not doing enough?
Yes.
Where are we all running towards?
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, it's like
We are not enjoying the process.
we're not enjoying the process or living in the present moment.
Yeah.
Pero me estoy hablando demasiado. Okay, ya, chao.
Anyways,
I'm done for tonight.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening us, for enjoying and watching these episodes.
Everybody
Please,
love you.
I love you. Please go to Spotify, go to YouTube, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Google
Instagram,
Podcasts,
add us on Instagram.
and Twitter, TikTok. Oh my God, we have so much shit to do.
No. We live in the present.
We live in the present. And how do we say goodbye?
All right, my friends, bless up.
Bless up. Bye bye.